Michael Kors is standing at a crossroads. With the failed $8.5 billion Tapestry merger, declining sales, and a growing identity crisis, the once iconic brand is facing its biggest challenge yet. Can Michael Kors reinvent itself and reclaim its place in the luxury market? Or are we witnessing the final chapter of its story? To understand how Michael Kors reached this critical moment, check out our first video on Michael Kors, where we explore the brand's meteoric rise and shocking fall. But today, we're focusing on the present and the future. What does survival look like for Michael Kors in a rapidly shifting market? Let's talk about the merger that could have changed everything, and the fallout, when it didn't. In 2023, Capri Holdings, Michael Kors's parent company, was set to be acquired by Tapestry, the owner of Coach and Kate Spade, in an $8.5 billion deal. The goal? To create an American luxury powerhouse capable of going head-to-head with European titans like LVMH. On paper, it sounded like a dream pairing. For Michael Kors, this could have been the ultimate redemption arc, a chance to regain its footing with the support of a larger conglomerate. But here's the thing. Not all dreams come true in fashion. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission wasn't having it. They claimed the merger would reduce competition in the affordable luxury market, especially for handbags, a category where both Michael Kors and Coach are major players. By the end of 2024, the FTC had blocked the deal, leaving Capri Holdings and Michael Kors out in the cold. The timing couldn't have been worse for Michael Kors. The brand had already been struggling with what industry insiders call brand fatigue. You know the feeling, when a brand that used to feel aspirational now feels overdone. Once a go-to for the chic jet-set crowd, Kors became synonymous with airport duty-free shops and outlet malls. And let's not forget the courtroom bombshell. Executives admitted that the brand was practically addicted to discounting. Here's what that means in plain terms. Kors had been leaning too heavily on sales and markdowns to drive revenue. Sure, it worked for a while, but in the long run, constantly slashing prices does something to a brand's image. It erodes the exclusivity that makes luxury feel, well, luxurious. And once that's gone, it's hard to get it back. Before we jump into the hard numbers, let's shortly remember what made the brand a household name in the first place. In the 2000s, the brand was a beacon of accessible luxury, blending style and practicality in a way few others could. Signature pieces like the Hamilton satchel and the jet-set tote became instant classics, effortlessly combining elegance with functionality. These weren't just accessories. They were cultural touchstones, spotted on red carpets and in the hands of trendsetters everywhere. Michael Kors didn't just sell products, it sold a dream. From its impeccably tailored ready-to-wear collections to the oversized watches that dominated the wrist game, the brand epitomized jet-set sophistication. I design for people who are always on the move but want to look incredible doing it, Kors once said. It was a reflection of a time when luxury was becoming more accessible, and Michael Kors was leading the charge. But those glory days feel like a distant memory now. The numbers tell a starkly different story. In 2024, Michael Kors reported a 16% drop in global revenue, with an eye-popping 43% plunge in China. Let that sink in. China, the market that practically breathes life into luxury brands, is turning its back on Kors. One major factor is the rise of local luxury and culturally resonant brands like Li Ning. These homegrown names dominate the fashion landscape by celebrating Chinese heritage and tapping into national pride, something Michael Kors has struggled to achieve. Meanwhile, fast fashion giants like Shein further crowd the market, offering trend-driven designs at prices that make luxury brands less competitive for everyday shoppers. Adding to the challenge is China's economic slowdown. Rising unemployment rates and cautious consumer spending post-pandemic have shifted buying behavior. Many are opting for secondhand luxury, which offers high-end fashion at lower prices. This shift cuts directly into Michael Kors's reliance on full-price sales. Finally, brand perception plays a huge role. Overexposure through discounting and outlet stores has dulled Kors' luxury appeal in China. In contrast, competitors like Coach have successfully rebranded to emphasize premium positioning, making their products aspirational again. Michael Kors has yet to make comparable strides. To turn things around, Michael Kors will need to embrace cultural relevance and exclusivity. Limited edition collections inspired by Chinese heritage, partnerships with local designers, and region-specific marketing campaigns could help it rebuild its status. Without bold moves, the brand risks losing one of the most lucrative luxury markets in the world. And now, without Tapestry to lean on, Capri Holdings is on its own to fix things. So here we are. In 2024, Michael Kors isn't the shiny, glamorous brand you might remember from its heyday. Instead, it's a company in damage control mode, trying to figure out how to stay relevant in a world that has changed dramatically. Can Michael Kors break out of its rut and make us fall in love again? Or is this the beginning of the end? It's the bigger story behind them. Michael Kors is dealing with what many in the industry call an identity crisis. Is it luxury? Is it mass market? These days, it feels like Kors is trying to be everything to everyone. And in doing so, it's lost the very thing that made it special. You can see this playing out in how the brand is perceived. What once felt like a badge of chic, jet-set cool now feels, dare I say, overexposed. The MK logo that was once a must-have now pops up everywhere, from outlet malls to deep discount retailers. And while that's great for short-term visibility, it's disastrous for a brand that's supposed to be about exclusivity and status. And it's not just customers who've moved on. Competitors have stepped up their game. Coach, for instance, was in a similar position not too long ago, but managed to pull off one of the most impressive rebrands in recent fashion history. By targeting younger consumers with fresh designs and clever marketing, they've managed to make themselves cool again. For example, they have successfully reinvented itself by leaning into thoughtful storytelling and trend-driven campaigns. Its viral success with the Tabby bag on TikTok brought the brand back into the spotlight, connecting with younger consumers and redefining what accessible luxury can look like. Meanwhile, Tory Burch has leaned into timeless designs with modern updates, securing loyalty among both established and new audiences. These targeted efforts demonstrate that even struggling brands can evolve and reclaim their market position, something Michael Kors must address. Consumers today are prioritizing individuality and sustainability over recognizable logos and mass-market designs. For younger generations, the appeal of niche, ethical brands outweighs traditional status symbols. Brands like Everlane and Veja, which emphasize sustainability and minimalism, are gaining traction in markets where Michael Kors once thrived. This shift puts accessible luxury brands like Kors in a difficult position, caught between their mass appeal roots and the growing demand for exclusivity and values-driven fashion. Internally, the brand seems to recognize that it's in trouble. Capri Holdings CEO John Idle has outlined a strategy to bring Michael Kors back to life, and it sounds ambitious. The plan includes rebalancing the product mix to focus on higher-end collections, cutting back on discounts, and revamping its marketing to tell a more compelling brand story. There's also talk of doubling down on department stores, a channel they pulled away from in recent years, to rebuild connections with their core customer base. But here's the thing. These aren't overnight fixes. Revamping a brand is hard work, and it takes time, sometimes years, to see real results. In the meantime, Kors is facing stiff competition from brands that have already figured out how to stay relevant in today's market. So, how do you fix a brand that's lost its way? That's the billion-dollar question Capri Holdings CEO John Idle is trying to answer for Michael Kors. And while the plan he's laid out sounds bold, it's also a bit of a gamble. Let's break it down. The first step in Idle's strategy is to restore balance to the product mix. Less emphasis on heavily discounted items and more focus on high-end collections that remind people why Michael Kors was once synonymous with luxury. It's about bringing back that sense of exclusivity, the feeling that owning a Kors piece is special, not something you could snag on clearance at the mall. Next up is marketing. Idle is putting significant investment into rebranding Michael Kors and rebuilding its image. The goal? To craft a story that feels aspirational again. Think campaigns that lean into the brand's roots of jet-set sophistication, but with a modern twist. Something that appeals to today's consumers without feeling outdated. But perhaps the most surprising move is the renewed focus on department stores. After pulling back from this channel in recent years, Capri Holdings is now looking to strengthen its partnerships with retailers like Nordstrom and Saks Fifth Avenue. Why? Because department stores are still a major touchpoint for customers who shop luxury, but aren't necessarily dropping 5 figures on a designer bag. Idle seems to believe that reconnecting with this audience is key to bringing Kors back into the spotlight. And then there's the tricky balance of affordability. Idle has hinted that Kors will also introduce more accessible price points to attract a broader customer base. But here's the challenge. How do you cater to everyday shoppers without diluting the brand even further? It's a tightrope act. And not every brand pulls it off. Here's the thing. Michael Kors isn't just fighting its own battles. It's up against a larger shift in the world of accessible luxury. The category itself is evolving, and not every brand is keeping up. Consumers today want something fresh. They're drawn to niche, sustainable brands that offer individuality, not mass-market logos plastered everywhere. For a brand like Michael Kors, which built its empire on accessibility and instant recognition, this shift presents a real problem. The old formula of mass appeal and bold branding doesn't work anymore, especially with younger generations. For Michael Kors, the challenge isn't just about fixing its image, it's about figuring out what it wants to be in this new world of fashion. Can it find a balance between affordability and exclusivity? If Michael Kors wasn't already juggling enough challenges, it's also fighting a battle on another front, counterfeiting. The brand has long been a target for knockoffs, and while imitation is often called the sincerest form of flattery, in the world of fashion, it's a costly problem. In recent years, Kors has ramped up its legal efforts to crack down on counterfeiters. A recent win involved blocking a Chinese company from registering a lookalike MK monogram in the European market. While victories like these help protect the brand's intellectual property, they also highlight a deeper issue. Counterfeit products often flood the market when a brand's designs become overexposed. And that's part of the image problem Kors is trying to fix. Counterfeit items dilute the exclusivity of a brand, making it harder to justify premium price tags when lookalikes are everywhere. It's a vicious cycle. Once a brand loses its cachet, it becomes an even bigger target for knockoffs, and the cycle repeats. So, where does Michael Kors stand now? It's no longer about staying visible, it's about staying desirable. The brand has the recognition and the resources, but without a clear identity and strategy that resonates with today's consumers, those assets mean little. This is a defining moment. To survive, Michael Kors must go beyond surface-level changes and deliver something that feels genuinely aspirational again. It's a tough ask in a crowded and fast-moving market, but the tools are there. The real question is whether the brand can rise to the challenge, and how long it can afford to wait. What do you think about Michael Kors? Do you think they still have a chance at revival? Let us know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Till next time.